Take a breather. Take a breather.
All right. I can
Take
do
two.
this. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. His vomit on his sweater already. Let's be serious. Let's be serious. Come on, man. We haven't done a podcast in like, I don't know, a month now. I don't know. I've lost track of time. Ever since the holiday started, I've lost track of time.
I said it's been a week.
Oh, it's been a week. Oh, fair enough. Okay.
Something like that, yeah.
All right, we can be a bit professional. That's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, welcome to the Blue Borders podcast. We haven't done a podcast like we're in about a week now. That's because it's been festive season, so not a lot of time to get podcasting. But there's a lot to talk about, because we've had a game every 3 or 4 days. We did a post-match on Wolves, and we had Everton before that. Didn't win either of those games. Actually, we lost both of those games. And then we kept bounced back with a 3-0 win against West Ham. Chelsea are back. We're back on form, letting the goals go. We're keeping a clean sheet as we do. And then we play Arsenal, who are all sorts of in trouble. Couldn't buy a win before we played them. And then we play them and we lose 3-1. Which is very annoying, because you think you've turned a corner after 2 bad results. And then to be given the sort of luck that we were dealt in that game, not being able to really put away our chances and allowing Arsenal to score a couple of... Yeah, Arsenal put their chances away. We didn't put ours away. I think we created quite a lot. But they were just... I think they had a bit of luck. They were more clinical as well. So that resulted in going our way. And then obviously 2 days ago, we had Aston Villa, who we drew against. Again, created so many chances. Just, we had the ball in front of the goal, just couldn't put the ball in the net more times than once. And I think that, Giroud, I have to mention Giroud has been excellent in terms of being clinical and, scoring when it matters. But we'll get onto that in a sec. But, underlying, I think, after all these games, obviously we didn't do a post match for any of them, but there's so much frustration when it comes to our results. But I think more so now because the performances have matched the results as well. Like we've not been as good in open play, in passing or creating chances, and I know a lot of that is down to us missing players. What else do you kind of attribute that to? Like, what do you think we're kind of missing in this moment?
I think it's when the team is on form, all of the players they look on point. They are ready to fight to win the match, and it just seems like the players they don't look as sure that they will win it. I don't know if that's just me who feels that, but just the way that they play, it's you need to have an urgency when you want to win. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that sort of drive to do it. I mean, they'll put in the work for sure, but there's just a different look on the players' faces. When they're really on top of it. We were on a good track. Good track with clean sheets. And then I think where did it go wrong? Was it against Wolves? Was that where we let in the first?
Well, we lost against Everton, and also to mention our XG was also lesser than theirs. So they deservedly got their win. And then from there on out, we outperformed every single team, but we still haven't, but except West Ham, we haven't gotten a result despite outperforming the XG.
Mm-hmm. So it may have been the Everton game then, because we're playing a team that is very good, tactically, and the players are really good. They have good individuals as well. So it may have just brought us back down to earth a bit, really, and shown us that we aren't a perfect team. And there is stuff that we need to work on, and maybe that's just, I don't know if that scared the players a little bit. Maybe the ones who aren't as experienced, the ones who are new to the team. So it just seems like we were a bit not shaken up, but we weren't fully into it after that Everton match.
I think also when tensions are high after a game, and obviously our expectations have obviously risen over the years, it's sort of fluctuated when we haven't got the right manager in, or if we haven't got the right team, our expectations are a bit lower. But I feel because we've invested so much money, the expectations have obviously gone higher. And I think there's nothing wrong with fans expecting better results and better performances. But I think, when push comes to shove, I think any football fan, if their team loses, they'll find faults in the team immediately. They'll find flaws in the manager, in the players, or whatever. And it's very easy to criticize that. But I've been particularly frustrated with the performances in each individual game. Would you think that's a fair assessment?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as far as the goals and the clean sheets and all that sort of stuff goes, we haven't obviously conceded a lot of goals, and bar Arsenal, but we haven't been creating enough, and we haven't been sort of putting our chances away, which has been part of the problem.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans are frustrated as well, just with the way that we are creating chances when we do, which is mainly crossing into the box from either flank, and there's only on the sides which we are attacking and not through the middle. So it's just a lack of creativity, which is really, I guess, it's putting a sore feeling towards our attack right now.
Yeah, it's been a bit unfortunate. I mean, I think also, we've been without very key players. I think you have to give that to Lampard as well, is that we've not had Hudson-Odoi available all the time. We haven't had Pulisic available all the time. Ziyech is obviously struggling with injury. Havertz caught COVID. Werner's been out of form. So he's not really been able to rely on his major, 5 players in attack that he's probably building the team around. But I was very frustrated with the performances personally, because I think the sort of passing and the build up and the possession, I don't think there was enough emphasis on it being more free flowing and less physically, I don't know, putting a lot of pressure on ourselves physically in terms of the amount of sprints that we do when we lose the ball. We're not able to keep the ball, and then when we lose the ball, we're we're out of shape and we're not able to really recover, and then it all sort of just goes wrong for us. And especially in the last 6 games, it's not been easy to watch. We've not had the same rhythm that we've been used to for the last, say, for October and November. But I think also, post-match, there is a lot of anger because you don't get the result that you want. But, once you kind of have a bit of time to reflect on it, you see that there is quite a bit to be quite pleased about. And it's difficult to say that when you haven't got the result, or you're performing on an average level. But, against Aston Villa itself, we had 16 shots. I think 8 of them were on target. And, realistically, when it comes to XG and those kind of things, like, we are outperforming every single opponent. It's a matter of really putting the ball in the net, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just the biggest. It's the thing which you need to be patient about, but the thing that you want to be least patient about as well, because you're so close to getting that success, but it's frustrating when you don't get it. And I think that's what's causing all of this anger towards the way that we're playing as such.
Yeah. I think as the games have gone on, it's becoming more and more apparent, obviously, where we are fighting for not just top 4. A lot of people said we were fighting for the title, but we're fighting for top 10. I think we're fighting for top 6, and we will get there. I think we'll make top 4, provided that we go reasonably injury free. But generally speaking, there's a lot of talk about Chelsea fans not wanting Lampard at Chelsea anymore. And I was sort of on that wave, and I was leaning towards that a bit, because I think when, as an owner of a football club, when Roman Abramovich puts in £200 million, right, and it can be through the club as well, but when he sees £200 million being spent, he wants a return on his investment. It's not there's no excuse for not putting up results against teams like Aston Villa or an out-of-form Arsenal or Wolves or Everton for that matter. As well as they're performing, I think we have a better squad than any of them. But I think, to want Lampard out this early, I think it's a bit unreasonable personally. And I know I've told you, I think he should be sacked. I think we need a manager with a bit more experience that knows how to handle the squad. But when you reflect and when you look back on it, without when the tensions are high, you don't really think straight. I think it's very clear that he's doing his job. I think he's doing what he's being paid to do, what he was brought in to do. I don't think he's doing a bad job, in all fairness to him, because ultimately you need an outlet for your frustration. You need to find somewhere a reason for why you're feeling the way you're feeling. So I understand, the frustration of a fan. I was frustrated, and I know a lot of people lean towards maybe wanting Lampard to be sacked, because obviously when you have an owner who's over the years invested so much money, time, effort into the football club, you want a return on your investment. And we've seen that whether it's Maurizio Sarri or Antonio Conte, even Jose Mourinho, it's a case of, okay, we know you're a talented manager, but you're just not necessarily right in this moment. And you're putting our chances of maybe making top four or not reaching your objective, you're putting that in danger. And I think a lot of fans feel as though Frank has hit that stage at this point where they're not seeing performances. And if the team were performing well and not getting results, then fair play. They're within their rights to demand Frank's sacking. But, and I think when you look at each game individually, and I'll speak from my own sort of perception, it's difficult to sort of justify a lot of what has happened recently, our results and our performances particularly. Post a bad result, you just want to say Frank doesn't have it. He's inexperienced. He's not great tactically. A lot of which I think there is some sort of truth to it. But I think when you look back and I think this is why statistics can help build a better perception of reality. Against Villa, we had 16 shots. I think 8 or 9 of them were on target. It's a case of having to put the ball in the back of the net. Now, how far do we go to put the blame on Lampard in that situation? Because I know, like I said, it's easy to blame him for a poor result. But was it a poor performance? Now, over the last few games, maybe for 60, 70 minutes of a game, we haven't really played well. We've had like 30 or 40 minutes where, okay, the football was great, but we've not really done much with it. And vice versa, sometimes the football isn't great, and then we get a goal, and everything is forgiven. So in that sense, for me, I don't think sacking Frank right now is the right thing to do. I don't think that's going to change anything, because I feel we're still sort of hitting certain numbers that we should be achieving without the consistency of available players that he intends to build around. So your ZX, your Havertz's, your Werner, Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi, players that he's building around, they haven't been available at the same time. They've been out of form. Obviously, Havertz got COVID. So where are we in terms of what we do with Frank? Like, what is your opinion? What we should do with Frank at this point in the season?
I think that he deserves. I think he deserves. More time with the team. I don't see what he's done that's been wrong. I think that he has consistently made some poor decisions with, for example, putting Werner out on the left, but then it was also, you could also argue that he didn't have any wingers to begin with when they were when Christian Pulisic was
just on that point.
Yeah.
When a player is not available, or you have to adapt to have your best 11 out, why has Frank not changed the system to accommodate that? And this could be quite a skewed argument, because, like I said, we still have been creating chances. We've dominated possession in every game. Our XG, we've outperformed every single team on XG. So is it a case of he's made a wrong decision, or do you think the result hasn't come because he's made the wrong decision? Because he's made the wrong decision in terms of, like you said, playing Werner on the left instead of, say, Hudson-Odoi, who was available.
Yeah. So I think that it would have made it much easier if he didn't if he didn't make that wrong decision. But I think that we should have still had enough quality to have been able to do better, regardless of that decision. I think that it was one which didn't help, but it's not one which was the only reason, the only factor in poor performances.
Yeah.
I think that there needs to be more of a goal threat as well from the midfield. Kovacic, Mount, they have to start. They have to be a bit more threatening in the box and outside the box. Mount has pulled up a few good shots off target or hit the crossbar, and it's close, but it's not there, and it needs to be there if you want results.
Yeah. I mean, crucially, like I said, we've dominated on all fronts on paper. But I mean, how can you blame Lampard? How can you blame the coaches for players like Timo Werner, who was bought to score goals, not scoring goals, or Pulisic, who has played a fair amount of games now, to not score the goals, or Mason, like you said, or Kovacic, and I feel there's a lot of. It's very easy at this point to shift the blame onto the guy managing the guys that are meant to win a game. Because it's easier to sack a manager, like anyone says, easier to sack a manager than it is a team. Now, I think you'd agree with me. This is probably our best squad we've had for about 10 years. When you look at the 14-15 squad, I think we have better depth now than we did then. But we had obviously a really good starting 11 back then. We had Jose Mourinho, who was top of his game and stuff. So it's hard because we have the right players finally, and they're just not going that extra bit. Now, there's so much argument for and against, and I like to kind of see that the one side of it where, okay, there was no pre-season, the players weren't given a chance to adapt, they weren't given a chance to bond and understand each other and each other's game. They were training for the start of a season. They weren't training for pre-season, which, it can take a real toll on a player's body. Obviously, Ziyech didn't play from March onwards or something like it was. And, to go from there to straight away training to play for a match, it is difficult and it is confusing for a player. And I think the same with, Werner and Havertz as well. So I guess, what I want to kind of talk about is this the sort of pre-season time that has now passed and we have to now focus on getting results and getting players fit and consistently showing up every week? Or is it unrealistic to expect our players to be at the best of their condition yet?
I always think that it's the first few weeks is when if they're not already fit, then they need to really rush to get them all in fitness. And with, for example, Havertz having COVID, or Hudson-Odoi with his injuries, or Pulisic with his consistent injuries, Ziyech, that was quite unfortunate as well at the beginning of the season, or before it even started, and then happening again. It's just what can you do really with those kind of injuries? We need to get them fully fit, and hopefully, I think that getting it done in Jan is a good amount of time for them to really work on it as well.
I think it's interesting as well that the time that we've reached now is we've got Manchester City next, who pulled out of a game against Everton the same day we played Villa because of fears of COVID. There's been a lot of talk about the season getting suspended again, indefinitely or whatever. From a Chelsea perspective, I think, do you think a break, say if it takes a month, London is in tier 4 at the moment, they talk about tier 5. Do you think it is going to benefit Chelsea to have this break? Or do you think it's going to be counterproductive because obviously they won't be allowed at the training ground, they won't be able to train together. But ultimately, it gives us more time for players to recover and get fit and get more ready for, training sessions and stuff. What's your opinion on that? Or, how do you feel about that?
They need to train together. More than anything, they need to train together. That's what will, build up the chemistry and make it much, much more efficient. And, the football will flow better as well. We'll have that sexy football that we've been waiting for so long, I think. And that's
but do you think we achieved that? You think we achieved that because do you think we achieved that because of the suspension of football?
I think that we need to train, whether it's suspended or not. I think that we definitely need more time to train together and practice. And I think if football, if the matches stops, but we were still able to play together, I think that would be fine, because they can practice together, they can improve, they can learn about each other as well. I think that you do need matches as well to also test how good you are. But if you're having matches so frequently, it's gonna take away the rhythm of training. So then there's no point of looking to train to build up the chemistry.
Yeah,
it's counterproductive if you have such frequent matches.
Yeah, no, I get that completely. It's going to be interesting to see how they organize that and sort of make sure that we want to see the season, finish. We don't want to see an abandonment of a season this early. And, I mean, ultimately with the vaccine out and all that kind of stuff, there's a lot more hope that, we can get things like sporting events sorted properly and we can go forward with it. But it'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
So before we move on to talking about potential Lampard replacements, I wanted to talk about players that will be free agents in 6 months' time.
All right,
I saw from Sky Sports about it, and they listed out some top players that will be available. They also mentioned Jesse Lingard in that, which I was very confused about. Mustafi as well, but I mean, whatever.
I mean, I'm down for a Millie Rock cheerleader, man. Bring Lingard in.
Lingardinho.
No,
three really stuck out to me. One was one who we've been linked to in the past, which is Declan Rice. Sorry, what am I saying? Declan Rice. I'm talking about David Alaba.
Free agent. Get out of here, free agent.
In my dreams. But David Alaba.
Okay.
There was Memphis Depay, who I know that you're a big fan of as well.
Big time, yeah.
And third one was, one of those. Please, I hope it'll happen. I've been good this winter. Let me have my present. Lionel Messi.
Yeah, it's a bit far fetched, isn't it? I mean, I can't see us getting Lingard, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean,
think about those three.
Three really huge. I forgot the third one. Messi. Oh, Depay. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, three very good players. Three players that are definitely not anywhere near the end of their careers, or performing at a very high level. I think with Alaba, it's difficult to see where he kind of fits in, because I mean, he's not a centre back, he's not a left back, and he's not a midfielder, but he can play those three positions really well. But I think we have significantly good players. I wouldn't say better players, but I think good players enough to not have to force ourselves to buy Alaba necessarily. I don't think putting him on a high wage, giving him a signing bonus, I don't think that makes financial, economical sense when we have players in those positions. And I think we've shown, like I said, significant signs of improvement in defence and in midfield. So it's not a player that I'm desperate for. If we were to go for him, obviously I would be very happy, because he's a quality player. He's a proven winner. He knows how to like I said, execute left back, centre back, and midfield. But ultimately, I think I have a lot of trust in our current players and in our current squad to not be that desperate for Alaba. So that's him. What's your opinion on Alaba?
I think that whilst we do have depth to our squad, I think that especially for defense, as we move away from our regular Thiago Silva and Zuma, it's not as good.
Mm-hmm.
It's lacking. I feel. Christensen is you can't depend on him for one thing. Rudiger is on and off. We know uh, how complicated it is with Rudiger because he has such good qualities, but he can also really mess up as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have youngster and Tomori, and is he ready for playing week in week out?
Hey,
And the thing is that
free my guy for Kayo, man. The guy's not getting right treatment. I mean, we can talk about
I,
another one, but he's such a
yeah,
talented player, honestly.
yeah. So I mean, Thiago Silva, we have a contract with him right now for this year, and it can be extended to next year, and then that's it.
Which we need to do ASAP.
So what happens if Thiago Silva gets injured? And it's I mean,
If
you know,
Thiago
we,
Silva
we
gets if Thiago Silva gets injured, I'm sorry to say, but I think Declan Rice can come in and fit in perfectly well. And we have N'Golo Kante to play midfield anyway.
but what if we need Declan Rice in that position when N'Golo Kante is? Let's say Kante's not available, then who do we turn to?
Yeah, it's I get what you mean, but I think
Even for the fullbacks, we have Reece James, Aspie, and Chilwell and Emerson. Okay, fine, we've got Emerson, but I think that Alaba would be great to be able to play him, next to Zuma, and if we need him, we can always position him in those other. We can fill him in those other
but
slots if we need
that
to.
what you said was very important. Is if we need him now
Yeah.
for a player in his prime at 28,
Hmm.
probably on the other side of his prime now, for us to pay between £300,000 and £400,000 a week and give him a
Yeah.
signing bonus, break our wage structure for a player that, like you said, if we need him, because I think, I mean, you would agree, we have maybe not better players, but I think Chilwell has the potential to be as good as Alaba. I think Thiago Silva is showing how quality is. Zuma's already showing signs of his old form, and he's getting so much better. He's just every week he just gets better and better. Reece is obviously untouchable. Midfield, if we have Declan Rice or we have N'Golo Kante, Alaba doesn't get into the team. So for that, is it worth spending that much money when we could be putting those funds towards, like I said, Declan Rice, or we could get another forward player? We've lacked a winger when we haven't had Hudson-Odoi and Pulisic who've been injury prone. Do we need to put our resources into Alaba at this stage? For me, it just doesn't seem like a logical thing to do when we have Tony Rudiger, we have Andreas Christensen, Tomori, like you mentioned, Emerson and Aspie. These are all fringe players, and they fulfill those roles really well. With Alaba, we're paying him a high wage, and he expects to start. Now, if he expects to start, who do we drop? We can't. There's no one that we can actually drop.
Next season we'll have Thiago Silva for one season remaining.
Yeah.
After that, we'll have to replace him.
Right,
So
but
what I'm saying, Alaba should be. If Alaba were to come, I would start him over Thiago Silva regularly.
Yeah, personally, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do
But
that.
Okay.
Yeah, personally, I wouldn't do that. I just don't think Alaba is a specialist centre back. He's done really well in the Champions League and in the Bundesliga, but I think why fix what's not broken? And Thiago Silva for another year, it just means it gives us enough time to kind of assess the market and see what's really out there in terms of longevity. Now, there's a really good player by the name of Sven Botman, who's I think at Lille at the moment, who they've replaced Gabriel with, the player that Arsenal signed. He's really come on leaps and bounds since he's joined. I'd advise anyone to go and have a look at him, because he's really quite something. He's a specimen, and he's a fantastic defender as well. And then there's Jules Koundé, who plays for Sevilla, who's another very promising French centre back. So I think there are options out there. Upamecano, obviously, Konate. There's a lot of good centre backs out there, young ones, that can fulfil first team role in the future. I just don't see the need for us to overspend and break our wage structure on someone who I feel will not get in the team over Thiago Silva. next season, certainly. And then the season after that, okay, I mean, he'll be 30 by that time, 31 by that time. Is that what we want, kind of thing? I don't know. I just feel we have a better structure in place the way things are right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I mean,
Now,
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, on
And
to
for Memphis Depay?
Memphis, yeah. See, look, with Memphis, I think similarly to Alaba, similar age, I think they are both looking for, big club move. And I think he would be more useful. I mean, he's a player that comes with a lot of experience in Premier League and the Dutch League and French League now. I still believe we need another winger. I think with how injury prone Hudson-Odoi and Pulisic are, and also obviously Ziyech is struggling a bit, injury wise. I think Depay is certainly a player that we can bring in that would, I think, be okay being a rotation player, not necessarily a certain starter. I think he has the ability to be a certain starter, but I don't think he'll be upset at being dropped once away. So I think it would be a really good signing. I really wanted Said Benrahma this summer, but it didn't happen. He went to West Ham. I think he would have fulfilled that extra sort of depth that we needed to be filled in. But I think Depay is a better version of Benrahma, like certainly, goal scoring wise, in every department. So I think that would be a very good signing if we are able to pull that off and we are interested.
Okay. What sort of wages do you think he would be on?
I mean, I can't see it more than, say, 150 to 160, depending what he's on at Lyon at the moment.
He's only 26, by the way. So he's not he's not hit his prime yet. So that would be quite good. In fact,
mate. Flipping mate. A bit defensive about Memphis Depay,
No, I think he's excellent. He's quite creative as well. He's good at giving key passes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that he'd be quite good. In fact, I think that he would actually suit Man City quite well, the way that he plays.
I mean, speaking of Man
dropping in deep.
Yeah, go on.
Dropping in deep, I think that he would, and then dropping in deep and then putting the ball through to the wingers. I think he'd be perfect for the way that they play.
Yeah.
But that's just my thoughts on him, anyways. But yeah, I think he would also suit us quite well, and he would fill in the gaps, as you're saying, when we need him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Speaking of Manchester City, I feel like they're the ones that are going to sort of end up with the greatest of all time, the GOAT, Lionel Messi. He obviously wants to leave Barcelona, and I think we have absolutely no chance of getting him. So I don't think we need to speak much about it. I think they're going to be a great team with him in the team. I think they've struggled with Aguero's fitness and Gabriel, his form and stuff. So I think it's pretty much nailed on that they're getting him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's another one whose contract expires in 6 months. That's Aguero. I don't see him coming to us, but that was another name that I spotted.
I was really holding out for Lingard, but these guys wouldn't be too bad either. But oh well.
Yeah.
Have to make do with little old Kai Havertz. Anyway, so just going back to the manager situation now, I just wanted to talk a bit about potentially, and we're not saying that we want him to be sacked. I don't think you and me want that. I think he has a bright future ahead. I think he can turn it around. He's got the players to do it. He's got the people around him to be able to do it. But if it came to it, and if we're not achieving results and we are in danger of slipping out of the top 6 and not even making Europa League, a decision would have to be made. And it would be based on whether Lampard has what it takes to take the club forward. And if he doesn't, obviously we're going to have to replace him. We're going to have to bring in someone new. Now, a lot of managers have been linked with us. And it's very easy. You can count them on your hand how many have been linked. I think Massimiliano Allegri, Julian Nagelsmann, and the recently sacked Thomas Tuchel, who, the German media are really pushing that if Lampard were to be sacked, Tuchel would be right in there. He'd be up for the job, and Roman would sign off on it straight away. Now, in your opinion, who do you think and why do do we go for a manager that you think that doesn't make sense? Who do you think we should go for, and why? Keeping in mind the squad that we've built so far, and how each manager that you mentioned will utilize this squad to its best.
Right. So I think that we already have a fantastic manager at Chelsea in the name of Kepa Arrizabalaga.
You do this joke every time, bruv. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh, he has something really serious to talk about, and then you come up with that.
I don't think it'll ever get old for me. Anyways, no, Thomas Tuchel is definitely one. I think that he'll be amazing at Chelsea if he were to manage.
Thomas Tuchel is number one for you.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you think he'd improve the team?
I think he'd just do everything better.
That's pretty fair.
Listen, when it comes to managers, I don't like to say, oh, this manager will be better or this one won't. The fact is, it's more of a holistic thing where, if they have the right plan, if they gel with the team, if everything needs to be right for it to work, it's almost like a Goldilocks kind of situation. You need to have multiple things working in your favor for it to go well. So I was
trying to see where you were going with that, but yeah,
sorry?
I was trying to see where you were going with that, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, I think that Thomas Tuchel, he has the best attributes of a manager from the ones that we've described in terms of being suited to Chelsea. But I don't think that I can say that he'll be the best or that it'll definitely work as such.
I think personally, Thomas Tuchel is my number one, and as much as I don't want Lampard to be sacked, if he is, I can't see a better man taking over this squad. And with the exception of Guardiola and Klopp, I genuinely don't think there's a better manager in world football that can take an attacking squad, make it his own, and get results and win trophies. I truly believe that. And his ability as a coach is so up there. His knowledge and his ways, his methods. Over the years, I've done a lot of deep dive into Tuchel. I have friends that have talked about him, that supported Dortmund and sort of told me about what he's about. But, for me, he's a once in a generation manager sometimes. When I look at the way he sets his teams up, it's so flexible and he's so knowledgeable in terms of what he's able to do within 90 minutes. He's constantly innovating, and I think he's very similar to Guardiola in that sense. When he was at Dortmund, he used to praise Bayern Munich, who were managed by Guardiola at the time. He used to praise them all the time because he just felt there was a culture of firstly never giving up, persistence, but also the tactical flexibility of educating players about what they're doing on the pitch and how they can change, manipulate the ball, manipulate their bodies to sort of take the opposition one way and then completely switch it over to the other side and form attacks like that. It's really incredible what he's capable of doing. And I don't think he was given the resources all the time to be able to do that at PSG. Although saying that, he won, I think, 4 trophies and he took them to the Champions League final only to be bettered by, a ridiculous Bayern team. But I just think at this point, I don't think there's a better manager in world football that can take us forward like Thomas Tuchel can. And I'm a big fan of Julian Nagelsmann, who I'm going to ask you about in a sec as well. But with Nagelsmann as well, he's a coach that is very young. I think he's 33 or 34 at RB Leipzig. And he's as good as he is. I feel like there's a bit of developing he has yet to do. He has more that he needs to work on in his game. And I want the finished product, Nagelsmann. I don't want, the almost finished product, because at Chelsea, there's no time to learn. And we're seeing that with Lampard as well. It is a results business, especially in the Premier League. It's definitely a results business. So I don't think Nagelsmann is for right now. in, say, January, February, whatever. I think maybe in a year or maybe 2 years, when he's sort of filled out his role at Leipzig and he's ready for the next step, I think Chelsea will be ready for him. But right now, Thomas Tuchel just sounds incredible, absolutely incredible. If it doesn't work out with Frank, obviously. So, what do you think of Nagelsmann as a coach? How do you think he would be successful right now? How do you see that going if we were to go with Nagelsmann?
Very energetic, very youthful and energetic as a manager, as as you've described, and even that's how RB play as well.
Yeah.
So I think that we may just stumble into the same issues we'd have with Frank Lampard right now if we were to go to Nagelsmann.
But one thing's for certain with Nagelsmann is he knows how to get Werner scoring. He knows that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, is it as big a risk as I'm mentioning, or I mean, is it even in your top 3 list to start with?
I don't have a list. I just have one. I just have literally. It's just
Thomas
Tuchel.
Tuchel.
That's the only. If we're not going for if we're not staying with Frank Lampard, then we better get a manager that has the experience, has that that X factor as well.
The attacking philosophy and the pedigree.
Exactly. Yeah, something very special about them.
Absolutely.
I've already at Chelsea. I've already seen that with, I think, Jose Mourinho. You just, as bad as it's going, you can win a game regardless because you have that manager, and it's just somehow they're able to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So okay, cool. Let go on. Yes, go on.
So yeah, I only see. I don't have a list of managers. I just see one right now that I think would do well.
I mean, we can absolutely cut it short there because I think we both agree it's there is no one better suited and no one better placed, in fact, to take over than Thomas Tuchel. But if I was to press you for 3 managers that you think can take over right now and pull this squad up and start getting results and get them playing good football and utilize our young players successfully, who would those 3 people be?
So Tuchel number 1, as I've said.
Do you want to take a bit of time with yours? I'll tell you mine then.
No, I think that I'll say it now. So I think Allegri would be very interesting. Yeah, I think he would be. I think I'd like to see him if it's not Tuchel, and then it would be Nagelsmann.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. I'm not a fan of Allegri just because I just don't like his football. I don't think it's progressive with regards to the squad that we have. But yeah, I mean, he's obviously a winner. He's won trophies. He's been around, so I could see him being successful. I just personally am not a big fan of him. But if I had to give my top 3, I'd say Thomas Tuchel is probably outright number 1. Number 2 would be Ralph Hasenhüttl, who's the manager of Southampton. I think are flying, and he did a great job at Leipzig as well. And then finally, Julian Nagelsmann, man, he's a wild card. But I think these 3, all Bundesliga born, not born but bred, would be phenomenal. And really suit the type of squad that we have to manage them and to get them playing some great football and get some good results. But barring all of that, we have one of the best young managers in world football, I think, at Chelsea, and I hope it works out for him. And he has a chance to turn it around more than anything. I think if anyone has that chance, it's a manager that has continued to dominate possession and continue to dominate the chance creation stats. It's a matter of luck. It's a matter of just hoping that the ball starts going in the net, and then suddenly everything turns rosy red again, and no one's really talking about him getting sacked again.
Definitely, yeah. Let's hope.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, cool. So I think on that note, we can wrap up. We can hope to live to fight another day, and hopefully we've got City next. Hopefully that goes through. It's not stopped because of the suspension of games.
They have the outbreak, don't they?
Yeah. So that's on Sunday. It's on Sunday, and then we'll see where to go from there, my guy.
Yep.
Maybe the next one we'll do a transfer special.
Yeah, that'll be great. I'd love that.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one. I will chat to you in a bit.
You too. Thanks a lot.
Hey.
See ya.
Bye. What do you do?